Hello, everyone, and welcome back to F1 City, my team career mode here
Bad
for
news, boss.
part
It seems one of the parts we were developing
five.
has failed. We'll need to head back to the development area and try again.
So, as we see here, the part for one of the parts for development has failed, which is very unfortunate going into Jeddah, which is one of my favorite tracks. So, hopefully, we'll do much better than we did last time out at the Bahrain Grand Prix, managing to get, I can't remember exactly what we got. I think it was low, I think it was like P12, I think. So not doing too horribly as of late, not necessarily as bad as we did on our first race of the season. As we see in the development chart, we are catching Kick Sauber at a surprising rate, which is amazing to see. Anyways, going into research, trying to just get some parts on research. I'm not exactly sure. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. As unfortunately, the wing flap for aerodynamics has failed, so that is very unfortunate. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and develop that again. Um, I'm not exactly sure why it's tweaking out like that. Anyways, that's pretty weird. As we, sorry about that misclick. Maybe I'm not sure. As the we have so many things to research on Arrow. It is crazy. So I already have the dual development, or not dual development, the multiple development slots available, which is much needed because we have so many parts backing up for development that we can't get everything done that we have researched because we have so many things researched. I think we have like 4 different parts researched, and we only have one place to develop them. So I opened up another development slot, so now we'll be able to develop those things quite a bit faster, which will definitely be very nice as we go to assign the parts, and I'm going to go ahead and assign both one to Vachur and one to Crawford, as we will be driving as Crawford in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix because we haven't driven as him yet, I believe, unless we did last race. But we've been driving as Vachur mostly, and so I just wanted to give Crawford the nod. He's the American. I kind of like him. So I figured we should give him the nod here as we go to engineering and corporate. There's 2 and 1 days left on those respectively, as that has the personnel has finally been the corporate upgrade. Goodness gracious, has finally come in. So we are going to go ahead and do another facility improvement or facility upgrade. And for this one, I was kind of thinking a little bit of a, I was debating whether to just get merchandise or whatever that was one out of the way, but I just went ahead and got secondary sponsor because I think we should make more money with those secondary sponsors. As we go to personnel, you can see we got pit crew training, which is very much needed as our pit crew has done nothing for our races. I don't know if you followed along, but our pit crew is screwed up every stop. They can manage to screw up. Our pit crew is horrible. So hopefully, um, upcoming our pit crew will get much better, which will be a glad relief to see if they could get better. As we go to engineering, our facility upgrade has come in for that. I can't remember if it is for if the dual development, or not dual development, the 2 development spots has come in for Arrow yet. I don't know if that was the last one that we had. Let's see here. I don't know. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, we assigned a part for the gearbox to Crawford, because we are driving as him. Anyways, let's go to engineering upgrades. Okay, so yes, now we assign the part for Arrow expansion. Sorry, I thought we already did it, but apparently we already did something else. Maybe it was like comms or something that we improved. I can't remember. So apparently we did not do that. So that will be done in time for, I think, Miami. So that will be lovely to have on the car. Um, or not on the car. That would be lovely to be able to upgrade more Arrow at once as we um, pick something for the battery and powertrain. I believe that is, because our battery needs to be upgraded. As I take a look at our livery heading into this race. I didn't really change much. I just haven't really given you guys a good uh, preview of it since we moved around some sponsors and changed it up just a little bit, just a couple tweaks that we made here and there with the numbers and the livery with the sponsors. And we have, Avalo sponsor on the Halo, you may have seen. We also have on the rear wing, we have Monomic, I think, on the side. We have our main title sponsor on the nose, and we also have the Avalo sponsors on the front wing as well. So just a couple minor tweaks and changes. So we have some on the side of the front wing as well. You can see it on the Halo, as I just talked about. We also have Octonic on the mirrors. So I really like this livery. I like the shiny black, and I just like the way it looks. So hopefully, you guys like the way it looks. Let's go to race weekend in Saudi Arabia.
Welcome to the Jeddah Corniche, one of the fastest circuits on the calendar. But let's see who will be fastest of them all. We're about to set the grid for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Yes, it's qualifying.
So going into qualifying, this is our first flying lap going into Q2. I have high hope. I believe we can get I believe we can get quite a bit higher qualifying here, because this is one of my strongest tracks. Anyways, we're gonna skip to the end of the lap because I don't want to this is quite a long video, and I don't want to quite bore you guys with tons of qualifying laps. And I mean, I do like showing complete qualifying laps, but when I do so many qualifying laps, when I do like 3 in Q1 like I'm going to do here, I don't want to quite show all of them as we run to the line. And it's good enough for P4. Now P5, as we're getting past that, I believe, there. So, yeah, I'm just not quite showing you guys the full lap as we go to our second lap. We've already been pushed down to P16. So, it is not great, as we do gain quite a bit of delta time in that first corner. As we head to the end of the lap, we have gained roughly 6 tenths up on our time, nearly 7, as we kind of don't quite get that corner quite as good as we did the first time. But we run out of battery that we can use, which is kind of unfortunate, as you can only use a certain amount per lap. But we run to the line, and it's good enough for P12, a 132.7, I believe that was. I didn't quite see it in time. Anyways, we had to repair our front wing because I hit it on that second lap. I think heading into one of the later turns, I think it was like turn 16 or 17, near that area. Anyways, I went out for a flying lap because I just didn't want to drive out again. But it let us go out even though we didn't have time, which was pretty weird. So that's kind of annoying. So that does waste a little bit of wear on that soft tire. But we do get into Q2 for, I believe, the first time in this team's history. So it is unbelievable that we can get into Q2. Amazing. I love that, because we are still the worst team on the grid. Although updated, I think we are no longer the worst team as we go to the end of this Q2 lap. I don't think we are the worst team anymore, because that R&D chart, I don't know if you saw it, it showed us as last, but it didn't. That was before we put all of our upgrades on the car. And also, it's annoying how you can't look at the R&D during the race weekend, so you don't get a full picture of exactly who's who. You only get a picture of where people are. You don't really get a picture of where they are during the race weekend, so you don't get a complete accurate picture. I kind of don't like how they took that out of the game, which is kind of unfortunate. As we go to the end of our lap, it's a purple sector 2. We're now up 8 tenths, now 7 tenths, because we don't quite take that corner the best we could have on the last 27th corner of the lap. We dump the battery, race the line, go up the gears, and it's only good enough for P14. So that will mean that we will get knocked out no matter what. And I figured that lap time was going to be putting us down into P16 once everybody finished. But thankfully, Ocon and I believe, I can't remember who's in P16. Both of them, I think it was, yes, Carlos Sainz. Neither of them quite were fast enough to be faster than us, so that's amazing to see. Let's go to the race and see what we can do with this starting position.
We're here today on the shores of the Red Sea in the Lower Hejaz Mountains to visit one of the newest circuits on the Formula One calendar. We're in Jeddah, home to what we all hope is going to be a thrilling Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda, and Piastri, Gasly, Antonelli, Albon, and George Russell, Behrman, Fernando Alonso, Isaac Hadjar, and Crawford, Ocon, Sainz, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Jack Doohan, Hulkenberg, Lawson, Vershaw, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me today is a man who needs no introduction, but I'll try anyway. It's Ant Davidson. Now, you're the racing driver in this partnership, so tell us about this racing driver. Put us in their shoes. How are they going to be feeling?
Well, you've got to be prepared, Crofty. Before you even step foot inside the car, you've got to know, you've got to have a pre-race game plan. You've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y, or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential before you get in the car.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So in terms of strategy, I figured since our tire wear is not the best, I figured a 2-stop is what we're looking for with softs at the end. So maybe if there's like a late safety car, we can really benefit from that. And I just figured that's the best thing to do going into this race. I figured maybe we could maybe eke it out to a 1-stop, but since our tire wear just isn't good at all, I figured, you know, let's keep the 2-stop on the cards. But maybe in case we could do a 1-stop if we feel that that's the potential, because it could be a potential, but it would be high tire wear and we probably wouldn't be that fast, so we'd have to figure out exactly what we think is best during the race. That's what I thought, at least. Anyways, as we go to the end of the formation lap, we actually got the tires relatively warm. I know the front tires are still pretty cold, but they're not ice cold like my usual formation laps. I really tend to struggle with getting them warm, and when I do actually tend to get them warm, I have a lot of tire wear afterwards. Anyways,
okay, incredible.
That's just me personally. Anyways, let's focus back in on the race. As the Jeddah Grand Prix is about to start, or sorry, the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix is about to start. Lights out, and away we go. It looks to be a good getaway from Lando Norris. Let's see, it's a fantastic getaway from pole. And Max Verstappen actually had such a poor getaway that he's actually having to defend from Leclerc. And Hamilton is overtaking Tsunoda. So a beautiful first start to the lap for Lando Norris, and a pretty good start to the lap for McLaren as well, as Piastri defends from Gasly, as Hamilton is past Tsunoda, and Leclerc is no longer challenging Verstappen like he was at the beginning, which is rather unfortunate. But if he can keep putting the pressure on Verstappen during this race, that is going to be fantastic for Ferrari, as they tend to be struggling. As we dive it down the inside of Alonso, beautiful overtake, beautiful on the braking. We almost lost the car, as you saw there. The rear end getting a little loosey-goosey, trying to step out to the left, as we now focus in on Russell and Albon, as we find amazing pace at the beginning, as we dive it down the inside at the beginning, and we also find amazing pace at this second sector, or first sector of the lap, as we dive it down the inside of both of them. Beautiful overtake, double overtake. So in the span of just I don't know, less than a sector, we've overtaken 3 cars. What a beautiful overtake. Let's go back to the start of the race and see what it would look like from our POV as we dive, see if we can just absolutely send it down the inside there. And we make up several places up to 13th, and then we send it down the inside of Alonso. So beautiful overtakes by me at the beginning, as or Crawford, I guess we could say. We went from 14th to 13th, then we dive it down the inside of Alonso. That's up to 12th. So beautiful beginning. And of course, we send it down the inside of both Albon and the Mercedes of George Russell. As we go later onto the end of lap 1, Albon's coming back at him, but we're going to go late on the brakes. We keep it nip and tuck around there, and I don't quite leave enough space, and I kind of push Albon into the wall. So that is very, very bad on my part. I probably should have left way more space there because he was around the outside, and I should have been courteous. I should have had the courtesy to leave him the space on the outside. As we go uber late on the brakes, and we kind of leave some space for Russell, but neither of them quite go as late on the brakes as we do. They get a better run out because of that, because they go late on the brakes. But there's another corner up here, so we go late on the brakes to just keep the place of P10 that we have. As let's look at the replay of that overtake from third person, I guess you could say. As we just dive it down the inside, you can see I try to leave some space as we did interlock wheels a little bit there with Albon, but I think I left space and then just closed off the door once we knew we had the move done. So beautiful overtake by yours truly as we go to the end of lap 2. It's a purple sector 2, and we will now actually leave space for Russell as he does get ahead of us, but now we have DRS, and with the use of DRS and battery, we are going to see if we can get the move done around the outside, and we just breeze past Russell, so we get around him around the outside. If we go to the end of lap 2, this was Alonso overtaking Albon with DRS around the outside, and it's a beautiful overtake. As we go to us, this was us, Russell trying to come back at us, but we will not get the move done. Russell still has the move, but let's see what can be here. What can happen here? Do we get the move? We get the move around the outside on Russell. Beautiful overtake by yours truly. Beautiful overtake by Crawford, and we are absolutely slicing and dicing this field as I keep it back up into P2 or P10, sorry. As we go to P2, Verstappen and Leclerc having a bit of a squabble here, and will Lewis Hamilton maybe be invited into this three-way scrap between the Ferraris and the Red Bull? Yes, he will, as it's 3 wide heading into turn 1. A beautiful racing by these 3 as somehow the middle car, Verstappen, seems to get ahead. So it's very rare for the middle car of a 3 wide situation to be ahead, but he stays ahead, and it looks like the 2 Ferraris will end up fighting for 3rd place. So very unfortunate, and now that fighting has given Verstappen a little bit of wiggle room to work with. It slowed them down enough to give Verstappen room to work with as we go to lap 3. We are still in P10. We're back in DRS of Behrman very crucially, because if we were not in DRS, we'd be in treacherous territories. We are in DRS, and it looks like Russell's going to try to come back at us even though we do have DRS. So we do close the door heading into the final turn 27 of the race, as we get a beautiful exit, relatively beautiful exit out of turn 27, trying to dump the battery and get the DRS, trying to close up on Behrman and Antonelli as they are fighting, which kind of is giving them, losing them time, sorry. And Behrman tends to be a cork in the bottle for us drivers, as he tends to be the slower one. As we go to the 2 Ferraris, Hamilton's and Leclerc. Hamilton hangs it, around the outside of Leclerc. Will he be able to get that move done? Does he have DRS though? Which driver has DRS? It looks like what? Neither of them have DRS. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It looks like neither of them have DRS. So maybe they crossed the line at the same time, but I mean, that's very unlikely. That's very weird. It looks like both of them DRS there. I don't know what happened there, but Hamilton's going to get the move on Leclerc, so the other prancing horse gets ahead of the other prancing horse. So prancing horse is having a bit of a battle there. The Ferraris are, as we go later on to lap 4. It's now we saved up battery because I don't know if you saw, we are running very low. But we are facing a bit of a pressure from Russell and Alonso. Since our car is so slow, we are holding up Russell. And you can see Antonelli and Behrman are fighting, but since our car is slow, we're not even able to catch up to them. But if we were in a contending car, we would be able to catch up to them, but our car just isn't necessarily the best. And we do have very high engine wear, so maybe we're not very straight in and we're not very fast in a straight line. That's just a waggle, or not waggle, a snap of under or oversteer there coming out of turn 27, the final turn. As we head on to lap 5, we're running dangerously low on battery, so we really need to stay in DRS range to have any hope of holding on to this final point finishing position,
No tyre
P10,
concerns at the moment, just focus on
it
the
is
driving.
looking like we are under immense pressure from Russell in that Mercedes, which is much faster, and Alonso in that Aston Martin, which is also much faster. So we are definitely going to need to be able to pick up the pace here on these mediums, as I think we are facing already like relatively like 20% tire wear, which is very negative in terms of our race pace. As we go to the leaders of the race, Verstappen and Norris, and Norris is quite ahead of Verstappen. He's kind of eked out that gap quite a bit. So he's about, I don't know, 2 seconds. Unfortunately, on the replay, it doesn't show me the times like it used to. So I'm gonna have to figure out why it doesn't do that. Maybe if you know why, let me know in the comments. Anyways, so Verstappen is about, I don't know, 2 seconds ahead of Leclerc, and Norris is about 2 seconds. I mean Hamilton, and Norris is about 2 seconds ahead of Verstappen. So a pretty big gap between first and second, and pretty big gap between second and third as we go to lap 5. Russell tries to overtake us, but we send it down the inside, go late on the brakes, try to leave him some room on the outside, and we kind of have some wheel spin there. I don't know if you can see, but we have some wheel spin, as we do now have DRS, which is very useful. And we are just trying to stay ahead of Russell for everything we have. Russell's going to see if he can send it down the inside, but not quite close enough to try to do so, as we do close up massively to Antonelli and Behrman as they had a huge fight. Let's see if we can get close to them here, but no, we can't quite really. We threatened to move down the inside, but we both know, everybody knows, we were never going to go for that. That would be a certain crash if we would have attempted to do that. As we go to lap 5, just looking at a view, this is our car. I love the way our car looks. Anyways, it is Gasly in P7, Behrman P8, and Antonelli P9, and Piastri P6, so maybe not the fastest in that McLaren for some reason. Anyways, we go back to our POV as we on lap 6, or the end of lap 6, going to the final turn of the race, or final turn of the lap, as we have DRS, but Alonso tries to overtake us, so we go uber late on the brakes around the outside. We close the door on Alonso, and we keep P10, and we had to deploy a little bit of battery. I don't really like deploying battery when I have DRS, because when I don't have DRS, it's going to make it really hard for me to defend, but I didn't really have any other choice there, otherwise we would have lost position. As we go to lap 8, Gasly, he's going to see, will he get a move on Tsunoda? No, he won't, but Tsunoda looks like he's trying to get a move around Piastri. So Piastri in the much faster McLaren, at least in real life, and I think in this game, they don't really give McLaren their flowers for how fast they are. For some reason, in this game, they always make Red Bull really fast. Like in this game, Red Bull is almost as fast as McLaren, but in real life, Red Bull's like the 4th fastest car, so I've never really understand that. As we go to lap 8, Alonso decides to get ahead of us, but we're going to go super late on the brakes and keep P8. So it looks like into the first turn, we really get that late braking, able to stay ahead of Alonso 2 times now, for the 2nd time running, as we go to the Ferraris, the prancing horses, as they are in P4 and P3 respectively, Verstappen P2 and Norris P1. So instead of Verstappen and then Norris for what's happened in, I think, every race of the season so far, it has been Verstappen then Norris. Now Norris is finally ahead, so hopefully he can win a race after finishing 2nd in every race to Verstappen. So hopefully, the 1st and 2nd positions can be switched around a little bit to make things a little bit more interesting, as we are now moving on to lap 8. We're running out of battery, and this is the lap that we are supposed to sit onto the hard tires. But I'm feeling relatively comfortable on these medium tires, and as you can see there, the tire wear, our icon has not come up yet, so I'm like, I can maybe eke out this gap a little bit more. Maybe we can do a 2-stop, maybe we can do a 1-stop, we don't know. I don't know quite yet. As we go to lap 9, Norris still dominantly, he's really eking that gap out. I wish it showed the times, but I think by now, if I had to guess, you'd about be 4 seconds ahead if I had to guess. 4, maybe 5 seconds ahead of Verstappen, which is pretty dominant in the first 9 laps of the race. As we go to later on in lap 9, as we go to the final turn, as we have low battery, and we now finally do have DRS, just barely have DRS as Behrman hits. So that is very important. So now Antonelli will have a bit of clean air to work with. So that is very crucial for our race. So maybe Antonelli will pull away from us now that he is no longer fighting Behrman. We don't know. We will see if he's going to pull away from us. So far, he isn't really pulling away from us. As let's go and see, this was earlier, as Behrman peeled into the pits. Let's see what kind of pit stop he has. Behrman is somebody who could 100% be in our race if he has a bad pit stop. Let's see if he has a bad stop. If he has a good pit stop, he should be fine, because that Haas is much faster than us. So let's see what kind of stop time it is, and that looks like a pretty decent stop time. And the way our pit crew's handling, I don't think we'll be in Behrman's race, unless he's doing like an outrageous 2-stop that doesn't work or something. Let's see what kind of stop it is for Sainz. This is somebody who could also absolutely be in our race. And that front left tire, oh no, it's not quite the engineers couldn't quite, or the pit crew couldn't quite get that off in time. So that looks like a what? I don't know. To me, that felt like around a 5-second stop. That's really unfortunate and damaging to Sainz's race. As we go to lap 10, we're trying to get the pressure on Antonelli as soon as possible, but we just don't have the best pace as we run a bit wide. Off those curbs. I've never really been able to get it right there as we try to kind of slingshot our way through this corner, go a little bit wide, and then get a little bit earlier on the gas for Antonelli. But Antonelli just has better straight line speed compared to us. As you see, our engine in the bottom right corner, it is orange. The engine icon is orange, meaning that if that icon wasn't there, it means our engine is pretty good. But it is there, which means our engine is pretty worn. I believe our ICE, our internal combustion engine, is around 70% wear, and I think our gearbox is around 70% wear as well. And I'm pretty sure it's 70 to 100 is much more increased chance of a failure as we touch the wall. Thankfully, we don't touch the wall too aggressively. We don't lose the wheel. But hopefully, we also don't have a mechanical failure, because it is looking like our ICE is pretty worn. And I'm pretty sure it's the ICE and gearbox. So that is very unfortunate that I should have fixed it earlier, but it is what it is. As we try to dive it down the inside of Antonelli, but Antonelli, we lose a bit of traction there because we hit his rear wheel as we threaten to dive down the inside, but we don't even dare doing that as Antonelli stays ahead of us. I probably shouldn't have quite gone for that overtake, just because, you know, I didn't really have room. As we go to lap 11, Verstappen peeling into the pits. He is really hoping for a good pit stop here. If he can get a good undercut on Norris, he can maybe be back in the race. Let's see what kind of stop time it is. It's not an uber fast one. It's a pretty decent one. I say that's probably around no faster than 2.5, but definitely no slower than 3. So that's still quite a good pit stop. And F124, I kind of wish they had the ability for you to get a really fast pit stop, because like in real life, we know that sometimes 2-second pit stops happen. So I wish they made it that every once in a while somebody could get a really fast pit stop. But unfortunately, I think the fastest you can get, or the fastest I've personally seen, is like 2.3 or something. But maybe if you have a higher level pit crew, it's more possible. I'm not sure. Anyways, let's go to lap 13 now as we cross the finish line in the pits. Let's see what kind of stop time. 60% roughly wear on that front right, and overall it's around 50% in general. And that front right, maybe because it's, I don't know, that front right just couldn't get removed, and it's a horrible 4.9 second as it takes us time to release from the pits. That's a horrible pit stop for us. Unbelievable that we couldn't quite get that pit stop done just nearly in time. So that's a 5-second pit stop. That's horrible. And hopefully that pit crew training can come as soon as possible, because we need it. Lord have mercy, we need it. I think we've had about 2 good pit stops this whole series, and we've done about 8. So that's not good averages. You don't want 2 out of your 8 pit stops to be good. You want more like 8. You want more like 7 or 6 out of your 8 to be good. Anyways, let's as we go to lap 13, heading into 14, we have DRS and ERS deployed on Albon, but we are running out of DRS. Let's see what kind of kind of move we can size up here on Albon as we go around the outside and kind of close the door. We kind of don't really leave enough room, and so that's not necessarily the cleanest driving we could have seen. We definitely should have left him a bit more room around the outside, or around the inside, because he was there, as you can see by that red arrow. He was there. We should have left him space. He deserved to be less space there, and it probably wasn't the cleanest thing we could have done. Anyways, what kind of move are we sizing up here on Bortoleto here as we run wide yet again? We're going to deploy all that battery going into turn 13, I believe it is, as we just swoop around the outside and close the door on him. Don't let him think that don't leave him any option to come back at us, basically. We basically just close the door and say, nope, this is our move. We are now up into P12. So after that poor stop, we are now in P12 instead of P10, which is very unfortunate. Anyways, heading on to lap 13. What's Hamilton looking here? Hamilton, he's quite a ways behind Leclerc, which is surprising. So his teammate, the other Ferrari, is actually pressurizing Alonso, who I think is yet to pit, as I think Leclerc has already pit. Because there's no way Alonso's just randomly up into third already. He was down behind us earlier, so there's no way he's just randomly up there. I don't think he pit as Bortoleto tries to come back at us, but we just say absolutely, and we just switch back around him down the inside, and beautiful move to keep the position of P12. But this fighting from Bortoleto is causing us to lose time, as I believe the Kick Sauber is roughly just as fast as us, but he is on the medium tire, which is a faster tire. So I believe that he will. He should be a bit faster than us. Also, he probably doesn't have quite as much engine wear as we run wide yet again through that section. That's one of my harder sections on this track for me personally to get. Let's take a replay at that. Let's look at a replay here as Bortoleto tries to go down the inside, and we say absolutely not. We switch it back down the inside, and we get the move done under late braking. We get the move done, and we just barely. Wow, voice crack. We just barely. We just barely get the move done and done and dusted as we move on to lap 16. It's about a 10% wear on the tire as we are closing up to Antonelli as Behrman almost loses it there, getting a little loosey-goosey on the rear end as we kind of size up a move here for Antonelli. What can we do? Are we going to dive down the inside? Yes, we are. Ballsy move. That's our second move there. And Antonelli is not liking that at all. He's definitely keeping the foot in. We kind of close the door a little bit. Probably shouldn't have closed the door as we go around the outside, and Antonelli will not commit to that because we fully committed, and if Antonelli would have committed as well, it could have been a crash, and so we just say absolutely not, Antonelli. That is our move. Let's take a replay of that. Let's see. We dive down the inside, and yes, as we can see, we didn't necessarily leave the most amount of room that we could have for Antonelli. We probably should have left more room for him, but it is what it is. It honestly could be worse. So I'm not too displeased that it wasn't the cleanest driving, but yeah, let's just say it could be worse. As we try to go around the outside, try to slingshot our way to get better traction on Behrman, but our tire wear not our tire wear, our engine wear is probably preventing us from that straight line speed as we dump battery or engage the ERS and DRS, and Antonelli thinks that he can get past us, but no, we're going to switch down on the inside just like we did on Bortoleto, and we're going to keep that place, and now we're going hunting after Behrman. Let's see what we can do as Antonelli might try to come back at us, and it looks like beautiful racing between me and Antonelli. Antonelli definitely in the much faster car, but we deploy, we don't have any more battery to deploy, as that is very unfortunate, but I just try to cut back and see if we can get the better traction on Antonelli, and we do. We get much better traction as we cut back him going into the final corner, or first corner of the track. So a lovely move to get that position back as we are now hunting after Behrman in the Haas, which it has pretty good pace. He's challenging the Mercs, and he is up into points, which it shouldn't necessarily be surprising for a Haas. I mean, Haas now this year, you know, a P10, P8, P9 for a Haas isn't super surprising. Anyways, as I try to slingshot my way to try to get a pass done on Behrman, but now I'm just debating whether that two-stop. I'm gonna have to, if I want to do a two-stop, we're gonna have to pull the trigger either now or next lap. Otherwise, the two-stop just isn't really gonna make much sense. So we're thinking about this as we are sizing up a move on Bowerman. Are we going to make a move here? Yes, we are. Unorthodox way to get an overtake, or not unorthodox, but unusual place on the track to get an overtake. As we go to lap 17, Hamilton in P3, Leclerc now P3, as he overtakes him with DRS. But what will Hamilton have to do with it? Have to say about that? And Tsunoda also has DRS, but he decides to make no move on Hamilton, as Hamilton is now trying to get that move done back, trying to get that P3 back from his teammate, because Verstappen is so far ahead that it's really just a podium fight here. As let's see if maybe Tsunoda could get on in that podium place. Anyways, Gasly in P6. I just realized that Gasly in P6. That's crazy. As we go super wide, trying to get a better traction, as we just get absolutely done by Antonelli and Behrman. But Behrman is coming into the pits yet again, so he is very clearly doing a two-stop. So maybe we should have followed him in there, but here I'm just fully committing to the two-stop because our tire wear still is at about 20-25%. So I think we can eke out that gap eke out that tire, sorry, to maybe finish the race. It would be around 50% wear, which would not be ideal, which would mean we could be in relatively high chance of a puncture, but hopefully not. As we look at our teammate in P18, so for the first time he is not dead last, which is not the first time, but one of the first times he's not dead last, which is very great. As we have a purple sector 2, which is pretty interesting, as Alonso tries to dive around the outside at us, but we keep the inside racing. We keep the inside line, which is, as we know, the preferred line for defense, and we keep that move. But we don't have much ERS to play with. We do have DRS, but because we stole it off of Alonso, but we don't have much ERS left. So the ERS usage in this race definitely hasn't been the best by yours truly. So that is going to maybe haunt us at the end of the race when we won't maybe have DRS, or maybe we won't have ERS. If we don't have DRS and ERS, it's going to be horrible for us, as we don't have the best straight line speed with our engine wear either. So that is very unfortunate. As you saw, I think it was Hamilton keeping his position for Leclerc back there. As we go look at our tires, yep, I was about right, about 25% roughly across all tires. You know, some more than others, as you know. That's just how it works around different tracks. Different tracks target different tires. You know how it works. Anyways, we are now in P10 as we threaten to move for Antonelli, and we just dive it down the inside of Antonelli. Beautiful overtake here on lap 20. So we have 5 laps to hold off 1 or 2 positions to maybe finish in the points. If Antonelli passes us and we get into P10, I wouldn't be too bad about that. But I want to try my hardest to get into that P9 position. Thankfully, I have saved up a 30% battery, and I think I can get that to about 50% going onto the straights by the time we get onto that back straight. So hopefully that's enough to stay ahead as we go to Hamilton, still defending from his teammate, or maybe diving down the inside of his teammate, as Gasly and Piastri are fighting in the background. Wow, that's just crazy to me how Gasly is fighting a McLaren, as Leclerc tries to get around the outside, I believe, of Hamilton, but Hamilton says absolutely not, and Hamilton keeps P3. So very useful from very good racing from the Ferraris here. As we look at Antonelli, Antonelli's definitely going to try to get a move done on us. What are we going to do here? As he tries to go around the outside, but we know if we stick to the inside line and stick to that late braking, we can 100% defend for Antonelli. Unfortunately, now we have only 20% battery, so it's going to be very useful for me to try to save as much as we are on none battery. We're not on medium, we are on none on the ERS, because we were trying to save as much battery as possible. As we go to lap 21, back to the Ferraris. This is probably one of the better fights of the race. Just the Tsunoda, Leclerc, Hamilton fight. As in the first stint, Leclerc was faster than Hamilton, but in the second stint, it looks like Hamilton is keeping ahead of Leclerc. As we go to lap 21, the end of lap 21, Antonelli tries to stay down the inside of us as we play a little DRS game, trying to make sure Antonelli crosses that white line first so he can get the DRS, and he does cross it first, which means we have DRS, and we're going to deploy a bit of battery as well, and we will get that move redone. We will repass him to keep P9 going on. We now have 3 more laps left, so hopefully we can try our best to defend as we go back a little bit back to lap 21. Let's see what's going to happen here. It's Leclerc trying to pass Hamilton again. Oh, he just jogs down the inside. Kind of a little bit of a move what we did versus Bortoleto. Kind of round outside, then dive back into the inside. Kind of do a little switcherooning as he does get the move done. He does pass Hamilton, so very vital that he gets that podium position. I think he is P3 in the Drivers' Championship, and Hamilton is like P5 maybe. But honestly, it's Norris and Verstappen's championship, as Norris has come second every race and Verstappen has come first every race. But it looks like this race is not going to be that way, as we get absolutely done by Alonso, and Antonelli is pressuring us from behind as we just touching walls everywhere. As we go on to the end of the race, Lando Norris, what a dominant performance. He actually led every lap of the race, even when he pitted. It was so dominant that when he pitted, he still came out in the lead. So what a dominant performance from Lando Norris. He wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and maybe gets a leg back up on his championship rival Max Verstappen. Maybe tries to stay ahead of him as we save up battery for the skipping ahead to the last lap. We have 100% battery. We did manage to get ahead of Alonso with DRS, so we save battery, or battery as some people say. We save battery for the last long straight at the end. We are now at 80% as we're trying to defend from both Alonso and Antonelli. Very vital here that we hold on to this P9, because this can be Crawford's first points, but we could very easily get passed by both Mercedes and Aston Martin, but surprisingly none of them. I think they're both squabbling for the last point position themselves instead of fighting me. So I will take that as we run to line, empty that ERS, almost run into the pit straight there, and we will keep the P9.
And
what a race,
We'll
from
you
yours truly, from Crawford, and what a race for the team. Beautiful work.
Here's the checkered flag. The fans rise to their feet. It's Lando Norris for victory.
I mean, it looked like they were in a different category at points during the race, led every lap. I mean, what more can we say?
It's what they've all been racing towards, waiting for them. High above the pit lane is our podium. And for the lucky three, it's time to stand on it. He holds the trophy aloft, and why shouldn't he? A richly deserved win today for Lando Norris.
So Lando Norris wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Hamilton repassed Leclerc, it seems like, to get that podium position. So Leclerc P4, Tsunoda P5, I believe. And so now the championship's starting to heat up a little bit. Now Lando's ahead. Well, not ahead. He's still like 20 points behind, because Verstappen's won every race and he's coming second. So he's now like still 20, 30 points behind. But now now it seems more doable. Because if Verstappen would have won that race, that's 5 races in a row. That doesn't seem doable to win. After your championship rival wins 5 races in a row, I mean, it is of course doable. There's still 19 races after that. So don't get me wrong. It's just, it seems incapable. Anyways, it's a beautiful win from Lando. Dominant win. Oscar Piastri, however, down in P6. So I really wish the game would maybe up his status a little bit, because there's no way he's finishing P6, and he's always finishing in most of these races. He's finishing anywhere from like P4 to like P10 even. I think he's gotten 1 podium. I don't even know if he has gotten a podium. So I really wish the game would kind of make it more so there would be both papaya cars will be a bit faster. As we go to look at our teammate, he finished P18. So beautiful work from our teammate to get ahead of those people, meaning those people as in Ocon, Hulkenberg, and Hajar. Anyway, guys, if you enjoy this, leave a like and comment. Thank you so much. See you in the next one.